A renowned psychologist, Carl Jung, said shame is a soul eating emotion. I've seen studies after studies saying humiliation is one of the most intense emotions that we human beings experience. It's more intense than happiness and anger, too. Help me out here and raise your hand if you've experienced shame in your life. Maybe a body shaming incident, maybe when you did a mistake, maybe when somebody misunderstood you, or maybe for your relationship choices, maybe when you probably did a mistake in your career choice, personal life, professional life, as adults, as children. I think we all have kind of experienced it already in life. I was all of 13 when I experienced this for the very first time. I remember a new teacher had come into our school to offer aerobics as a subject. A few of us had opted for it. And this teacher had the sessions happening at the terrace of our school. So we all, a few of us, intended to join this class. We enrolled for it and we went up for the session. She did a pretty decent job, but she let the class 10 minutes late. My second class had already begun. This was of my class teacher. I rushed down the stairs because I was a little worried, thinking, what if she punishes me? Because I'm late already to class. You know how class teachers are. Yeah, so I rushed down. And while I was rushing down, my mind was all over the place, but somehow went and stood in front of the classroom door, asked her for permission to enter the class. While I was almost about to sit, my class teacher ushered me to the front of class. I went there, stood up straight, right in front of the class. She pulled out her wooden scale and started beating me black and blue on my legs. Even to this day, when I think about it, my voice chokes. I wasn't sure what was happening. My eyes were filled with tears. I did not speak a word, but my teacher said a lot of things. She said, "You useless, stupid girl. How is it that you're also in the school? Do you want to enroll for aerobics? Do you think you deserve to be there?" I did not respond. That day, there were only two voices or two noises heard in class. One of my class teacher saying all this to me, and the second of the touch of the wooden scale on my body. Pat, 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 it reverberated. Even now, when I think about it, I'm not sure what's the emotion that I feel. However, I know that moment I was humiliated, I was scared. I tried to look into the eyes of my classmates to see what were they thinking about me. Maybe they were scared too. Maybe there was a little bit of disgust. Or were they numb like me? I still don't have an answer for it. This happened for a good 10 minutes time, I think. But then I thought she did it for hours together. When she felt she'd humiliated me enough, she said, "You can go back to your bench and start taking down notes like nothing had happened." So I went back to my bench, had my head held low. I felt cheap. I felt disgusted. I did not feel good about myself. My mind was again rushing. I was thinking about my friends will no more be my friends. They'll only be my classmates. My parents, what if they get to know about it? I never thought they will support me. All that I thought about in that moment was if they get to know about it, they too will say I'm wrong. Because my class teacher said it, so I must be wrong. And then she started dictating notes. She passed by my desk. And I remember she again paused in front of my bench, widened her eyes. And she said, "Why aren't you taking down the notes? You want to fail the subject too? You're a curse to my class." And for the first time, she said a new line. She said, "How could you have borrowed the best smart student's notebook and come late to class? You want my best student to wait for you? You, that useless girl?" There it was. That was the reason that I was punished and humiliated. because I'd borrowed the book of a friend and I came late because my previous teacher led the class late. This is how shame, in fact, comes up in our lives. If you look at what the research talks about with regard to the neuroplasticity of the human brain, is they say that the neuroplasticity is extremely high, especially when we are young. We can adapt and learn too many things. And it's also during this period in our teenage times that a part of our brain called the nucleus accumbens starts growing. Nucleus accumbens is responsible for interpreting and understanding pleasure and shame. Oh boy, I was scarred for life. Shame, I understood it. I understood it pretty well. I was scarred forever. I call it shame and not guilt. These are two different emotions. Guilt makes you feel you made a mistake. Shame makes you feel you are a mistake. I felt I am a mistake. I don't belong. I am a misfit. I'm useless, worthless. Every word my class teacher said, I believed it. I felt ashamed of being me, of being the Kripalini in that school. Look at your own experiences with shame. Whenever shame shows up, it has three classic traits. It wants you to remain silent, probably because if you share this with somebody, it's too small a trauma. How will you share it? Probably people will disregard it. You keep it a secret because you're not ready to open up that wound and work on it. You don't want people to misjudge you. So what do? You start your spree of self-judgment, like what I did. I sat in that experience for a good 10, 12 years. I used to always think, what if this happens again? I have to be careful. I have to be careful. I can't go wrong on how people will interpret me. I remember sitting and brewing in it for good 10, 12 years because that was the only experience which catapulted into every decision I was making. When you sit and do this to yourself for a very long time, psychology says that you've hardwired yourself. What does hardwiring really mean is, let's take an analogy of a forest. Imagine that you had to go through a thickly dense forest from point A to point B. What would you do if it's a thickly dense forest, and if you had to do this regularly? Maybe you'll mark a few trees and say, this is the tree that's going to give me the path for me to go from point A to point B. So you remain safe, you finish your trail, and you come back. Gradually, you will see that on the ground, the grass goes away, and a tiny trail will start forming. Eventually, a very good pathway. This is how our brains learn too. There are billions of neurons, like the billions of trees in a thickly dense forest. These neurons have tiny pockets in which there's information about different situations that's kept inside it. The ones that we tend to retrieve, the ones that participate in a synapsis, are considered to stay longer. But the thing is, we humans remember bad memories more. We don't go back to good memories and say, hey, let me think about it. Probably it's because it's an evolutionary pass down. We remember bad memories, probably because the brain says, let's remember this, because this should not repeat again in our lives again, to keep us safe maybe. But the problem is here. The brain, as much as we all say we are technologically advanced, has yet not reached a stage where it can differentiate between a physical threat and a psychological threat. For the brain, like how, let's say there was a lion in front of me right now here, there are three options for me. I can fight the lion if my brain believes that I have the capability to fight it. I can run away from the lion if it thinks I can race it. Or it will freeze me saying, Kripalini, shut up, stand there, don't move anywhere. You're better off in the place that you are, and freeze. This is exactly what the brain does when there is a psychological threat too. It does not think it's a physical threat. It always goes back into the same interpretation. In my case, it was my class teacher who was the lion. It believed definitely Kripalini will not fight it. She cannot run away from this class. The only option was to freeze me. I stood there, frozen, with shame completely growing inside of me, feeling lonely, feeling sad, feeling depressed, feeling useless, all at the same time. The thing with emotions is we think, okay, it's one emotion, it came up and it's done. Emotions don't behave that way. Like how happiness can become playfulness, joy, contentment, humiliation or shame can take one of these shapes. It can make you a bully yourself. Many of us who are bullies, we become bullies because we understand what shame does to us. You can probably become an imposter, or you probably will believe that you're an imposter all the time, or there is always the lookout for external validation. I, for one, became a hardened people pleaser. I wanted anybody, everybody to just accept me. You know, to an extent, when I worked with people who are practicing emotional intelligence and people who are also learning about emotional intelligence, when we dissect shame, this is what shame does to us. You might laugh at me when I say it, but I'll go ahead and share it. Let's say I'm in a relationship with you. You can break up with me. I'm okay to go through the heartbreak, but don't talk badly about me after you break up with me. You can fire me from my job too. I'm okay with that. But always keep me on the pedestal and talk nicely about me in my back. That is more important to me because it pierces my chest when somebody does not get that validation, because that's how shame grows on a human being. I started studying, learning, researching about emotional intelligence because emotional intelligence is the only subject which talks to you about emotions scientifically. It tells you saying what's happening to you, what are the patterns that you've grown into, and how do you unlearn all those patterns and rewire yourself. Habits make your character, character makes your personality. So it's in those habits that all of our definitions lie. You know, it's only in the movies that we see that we believe a person hit the rock bottom and oh my God, that person rose like a phoenix. Definitely people rise like phoenixes. All of us know of people who've hit the rock bottom and have come out of it feeling beautifully well. But here's the thing that you need to remember about it. The rise does not happen like this. The rise happens like this. You go up, then you'll have your moments of self-doubt showing up. It's in those moments that you go back to your emotional hygiene habits. It's in those moments that, like Adlerian psychology says, yes, the trauma has happened. What do you choose to do going forward? So here you go. This is your first step if in case you're dealing with shame from past. First and foremost, acknowledge that you have that thought and your shame as an emotion is showing up. Many a times we will not even know that we are feeling shameful. But the best way to catch it is you will know the changes inside of your body because these are sensations that's been picking up from your brain. How do you do that? Probably sweaty hands, probably palpitation, probably the chill going down your spine, or probably the dryness in your mouth. All of this tells you saying shame from the past is knocking at your doorstep now. What's very, very important is right now, once you've understood that, is please regulate your nervous system. First and foremost, get into the habit of doing box breathing. When you do box breathing, this is one of the simplest and easiest ways that you can get your sympathetic and your parasympathetic nervous system to get regulated in the moment. And if I feel those sensations in my body, the most important thing is try to focus on a body part which feels supported at the moment. If I keep my focus there for 30 seconds, my body will believe I'm safe. And then I can continue doing whatever I want to do. Third thing that you can definitely try. Is try to look into a mirror. For me, what used to happen is, every time shame used to show up, I used to somehow believe that I'm that 13-year-old girl and it's my class teacher yelling at me. When I look at myself in a life-size mirror, I know it's the adult Kripalini out there. And this Kripalini knows how to deal with things. Otherwise, that numbness pushes me to think I'm back into my classroom. Step 3, please get into journaling. For your emotional hygiene, journal every single day. This is the only tool which helps you to figure out the chitter-chatter that's happening up here. You will build a lot of awareness, and you will be able to build a lot of moments of reflection for yourself. And step 4, please take perspectives. Perspectives is the only way that you change your point of view. If you learn to change perspectives, is when your limbic system and your prefrontal cortex of your brain comes together to make a decision. All of us must be worshipping a lot of gods, right? Take a look at our own gods. None of them seem to be perfect. They're all imperfectly perfect. And step 5, as cliched as it might sound, please build the habit of self-compassion. Compassion, I think, or self-compassion, I think, is the only tool which will help you to strip yourself emotionally naked and look at yourself for the flaws and the beauty that lies within you. If you do your acts of self-compassion right, a tiny window will open. A window for you to forgive. Maybe to forgive yourself or forgive others too. So who have I become doing all of this? Is yes, the shame continues to exist, but the rewiring of it is done. I still remember the trauma of that 13-year-old girl, but it's that trauma which has made me this person. And if not for this trauma, I wouldn't have gotten into emotional intelligence as a subject itself. I've today trained 11,000 individuals across the world, and nobody's stopping me. Neither am I going to stop talking about emotional intelligence. I consult for both domestic and international projects in socio-emotional skills, all for the sake of my trauma, because that's what made me who I am today. I've seen many practitioners and learners of my program being able to deal with this emotion and not get caught into it, but learning to ride the wave. Always remember, you can checkmate your shame. One thing that I would want to definitely leave you back with is life will happen, but whenever that trauma shows up, always remember this. You are bigger than that trauma. You're definitely bigger than that one emotion that trauma brings up. You're bigger than the sum total of all emotions that you will see. And if I could rewire myself with emotional hygiene habits, you too can. Only thing that you need to do is when those dips happen, brace yourself in those moments. The trauma will continue to remain, but you too will be able to change that narrative. If I could make the scar of shame my badge of honor, you too can. You got this. Thank you.